admitted that it was their balloon, not a UFO, a Chinese balloon, but not a weather balloon, a civilian airship. Why has China done this? And why were they using a spy balloon instead of a satellite? It definitely wasn't a weather balloon because the international rules for weather balloons are quite specific and no payload can exceed 12 pounds. The estimated payload on this balloon was in excess of 2,000 pounds. That's a fair amount of weight. It was also a very large balloon. I think it was 61 metres in diameter, and that's pretty close to the largest balloons that they make for scientific instrument carrying. But let's examine what the Chinese were up to, because did they really need to fly a balloon over the States? Had they done it before? Will they do it again? So why would the Chinese want to fly a surveillance balloon? Let's just call it a surveillance balloon over the United States. Well, there are many reasons why you get better imaging from a lower altitude, especially for less cost. And let's face it, balloons are relatively cheap compared to putting satellites into space. The balloon is steerable by altering the height because the winds and the jet streams at different altitudes go in different directions and propel the balloon at different speeds. But the timing's a bit strange, isn't it? Because the USA just announced something in the Philippines.
The United States has signed a deal allowing large numbers of its troops to return to the Philippines for the first time in 3 decades.
They were going to open another 4 bases. And then you think, well, why does America or the USA, why do they want to return to the Philippines? What's wrong with projecting the power they have through the existing bases? And there are something like 57 bases in Japan. That's American military bases. And the other bases they have in Singapore and Malaysia and Indonesia. So why would they need to go back to the Philippines as well? Well, the Philippines is very close to the South China Sea, and the Philippines gives them good, solid capabilities for running aircraft that could strike at China without having to be protected by a carrier battle group and not putting the carrier battle group at risk. Therefore, we have to look at what's going on in the South China Sea. What's China really up to, and what's America actually doing?
Countered that America was to blame for rising tensions in the region and said American access to Philippine bases, quote, hurts regional peace and stability.
So my contention is that Xi Jinping, the Chinese premier, sent the balloon over deliberately. And he dropped it deliberately to an altitude where it would be seen by the public because the American military knew it was there. They'd be tracking it. Remember, the payload was the size of 3 school buses and weighed over 2,000 pounds, so they would be tracking it. But no one mentioned it until the public saw it. And I think the Chinese deliberately brought it down close to Montana because, one, there are a number of missile bases in Montana, and secondly, they wanted the public to see it because they wanted America to have to report it. And why would they do that? Because they wanted to show America that they could respond to their show of strength by coming back at them with the fact that, well, we can send a balloon over and look at your stuff anytime we like. And then the Americans have to respond to that. And this is quite a well-placed technique the Chinese, I think, have used here, because they've sent over something that can purport to be civilian, and they maintain it is. They say it's gone off course or they've lost control. It goes over all of the continental USA. It's seen by thousands, if not millions of people. America don't do anything until it's off the coast of South Carolina, where eventually they shoot it down. But they shoot it down with an F-22. An F-22 Raptor is one of the most expensive warplanes that you can get. It's expensive to run. It's expensive to maintain, it's expensive to fly. So they sent that up to shoot it down, and the only reason they were able to shoot it down was because the Chinese had dropped it to, 65,000 feet so that everyone could see it. And I think the Chinese wanted it shot down because now America suddenly shot down what the Chinese claim is a civilian airship, but they didn't shoot it down over America, so they let it gather data for all of America, all the way across the continental USA, and that's obviously been reported back to China at some point. It's probably going in direct uplink to a Chinese satellite. So America's looking a bit silly at this point. And then America thinks, well, we better do something else. And then there's a report of a second Chinese balloon over Latin America. And then suddenly we've got reports.
Well. Good afternoon, John. Shite. Really, really shite. How are you? Yeah, no, I think I'm just got a holdover from the infection in my mouth, and it's just kicked my ass, so to speak. And I'm not doing great, but I am here. We are here. We are live. We're going to try and make people laugh whilst acknowledging the news. So, John, what do you want to talk about in the pre-roll today? Apparently you're muted, John. Wait, okay.
Well, let's try that then. That was a bit of a fucking disaster, wasn't it?
Well, let's try that one again. Well. Good afternoon, John.
Hello, Ben. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Anyway, we were talking about...
Yeah, so this tweet here from 5 Pals UK. The mother of an autistic 14-year-old boy was involved in the desecration of the Holy Quran.
No, he wasn't.
No, I know. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. It's a book.
The whole thing is ridiculous. It's like religious blasphemy laws being played out in the United Kingdom, right? Now, you know me, and I know you, John. We are not religious folk. We're not religious folk.
No, we aren't.
I'm also very much... we both personally, but me obviously, have very much... where's my thoughts going? We know autism. We know autism, and we know autism well.
Yeah.
Right? It is ridiculous, in my view, that a 14-year-old boy... So here's what actually happened. Scuffed by accident a Quran. Scuffed.
Yeah.
His mother has been paraded in front of a religious, I don't know, court gathering, and basically made to say, please don't hurt him, essentially.
Oh, apparently he's been expelled now.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So apparently the councillor for the area said he's quite rightly so being expelled.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, of course, the councillor for the area obviously belongs to the religion of peace also.
Look, I don't care what religion you belong to. Your religious wants, religious, I don't know, rules, desires, they have no place in society. You can have them within your bubble. You can have them within your religion. If you subscribe to that religion, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. But you don't then go and impose them and force them down the throats of others.
But that's not how religion works, Ben. That's not how any religion works. I mean, even Christians, to an extent, impose their religion on others.
I'm just saying, right? I
know what you think, and I know how you feel, and I share your thoughts, and you know, generally I feel exactly the same way. But the problem is that's not how religion works. Any religion tries to impose itself on other people that aren't a member of their religion. I mean, Christians send out missionaries, Mormons send out missionaries. You know, they all do it. And the one in particular here is quite frightening, and the methods that it will use to make people a part of the religion or basically cease to exist.
You know, I'm not going to go down that path right now, because
so with
I
that,
don't think...
I'd like to welcome you all to episode 202 of Chasing Dissent Live.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
And there we are.
There we are indeed.
So, what shall we move
indeed.
on? Shall we move on to the news proper?
I absolutely love this person's handle here on this first tweet. Captain America.
Captain America. Captain America.
Captain America.
Yeah. Captain America. CD Parrot says that Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs laundered the Mexican cartel money to rig the election.
I've seen this allegation over the last couple of days, and it's interesting. It's very interesting indeed, because there appears to be at least some merit to it.
Well,
So
it's been raised in the Senate and the House Elections Committee. So I think there might be a little bit of something about it, yeah.
there may be some merit to this. So
Yeah.
I think definitely it's worth keeping an eye on. And obviously, Katie Hobbs, her opponent was Carrie Lake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't it? What happened to
yeah.
Carrie Lake? She thought she was going to win and didn't.
Oh, well, yeah, because votes came in the middle of the night. Imagine that.
It's funny that when did that happen?
Imagine.
That happened before.
I'm not
Did that happen
alleging
before?
anything.
Maybe not.
I'm not alleging anything.
No,
You can
no.
make your own,
No,
draw
no,
your own
thanks.
conclusions, make your own decisions.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We'll keep our eye on this one though. I think it's worth watching.
I think.
I'd
you're
like to see
absolutely
how it
right there.
develops.
I think so. I think I will also like to see how this develops. But moving swiftly on to the Ohio rail crash in Palestine, Ohio.
Palestine, Ohio. Apparently, if you're a local, it's Palestine.
Palestine.
Like Berenstein.
Toxic
Anyway.
waste removal suspended amid contamination fears.
I don't quite get this. Why would you stop taking it away if it's contaminated?
Well, you would have thought the reason that they're taking it away is because it's
Well,
Jesus.
I mean, the whole sentence doesn't make sense. Toxic waste removal, right? So we know
Yep.
the waste is toxic,
Yep.
and we know we're removing it so as we don't contaminate the ground and the
Yep.
water supply and everything. But
Yep.
we decide we're going to suspend it because we might contaminate things. So what's happening? Are we contaminating things because we're removing it,
But
or
remember,
what?
this is the same government who said for the last 2.5 years the air isn't safe, can't breathe, cover your face, and now in Palestine, Ohio, they go, air's totally safe, walk around, face uncovered, you're absolutely fine, nothing
Yeah.
to see here.
I think the whole thing's just. I mean, sometimes they just resort to ridiculousness. They really do. And you know, speaking of ridiculousness, I'm gonna have to mock this guy, right? Okay.
I'll tell you a story in a minute.
Okay. So this is Mike Graham, you know, the big gobby guy off of Talk
Talk
TV,
radio or
Talk Radio, or
TV.
whatever it's called. I don't know. So he's scheduled to have a colonoscopy tomorrow. Well, thank you for sharing that with us,
Today,
Mike.
today,
Or
he's probably
today,
having
today.
that, probably
Yeah, that
having
was-
it right now.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Mike. I'm glad you let us know. So now, if you've seen this guy, right, he's not going to starve in 24 hours.
No,
He
no,
maybe
he's not.
he maybe have been told to fast for 24 hours. That's not the same as starving, because let's face it, Mike, you've got a good 6 months of stored food around your gut to keep you going.
I got 3 or 4 months on there.
Yeah,
I'd say.
easy. Yeah.
Right, and I'm nowhere near the size that Mike Graham is,
Yeah.
shall we say?
Now, the second thing about this that I have to ask is, how long have you to rest your voice after they've shoved something up your speaking orifice?
John, have you ever had a colonoscopy?
No.
I have.
Good for you.
I have. And I can tell you now.
Thanks for sharing.
It's an interesting experience. That's all I will say. If you're not sedated, I wasn't sedated. Knowing Mike, he's probably being sedated, right? He just seems the type to...
Is he not a bit... She shouldn't really need to like someone if they're at risk, because he's fat. I mean, he's really fat. Right? In fact, I'd say he's grossly obese. So surely that must be a risk factor for anaesthetists.
Well, sedation is a bit different to an anesthesia.
Well, yeah, okay. Aye.
But,
fair point.
Because sedation, you're generally kept conscious.
Yeah.
You're just,
You just don't care. You don't care when your
don't care.
anaesthetist slips his wiener into your mouth.
Well, no, when you're lying on your side and you've got a 70-inch TV next to your head watching the inside of your body.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a bit weird. It's an experience. I should say that. It's an experience. And if you guys like us speaking about experiences, a sub to the channel if you haven't done so would be fantastic. And unless you want John to send the boys, there's more than double the viewers there are likes. So John.
Yeah, well, you've got to give people time. We're only 10 minutes into the show, you know.
Don't care.
I mean,
Don't care.
What if they don't like it? Well, I suppose you could take the like back. You could put a like up there preemptively to avoid me having to phone the boys. And then if you don't like the show, you could take it back at the end.
Let's help the algorithm, people. Let's help the algorithm. Anyway,
Speaking of algorithms, this clown's back on the scene, isn't he?
is he back?
Well, yeah, because
Remember this.
he was going on about something else, but I mean, this is just something to remember. Bohemian Atmosphere here tells us that Professor Lockdown Neil Ferguson once warned us that 200 million people globally could die during the bird flu crisis. Remember the bird flu crisis? Because that's important, because that's what's happening right now. We're having another bird flu crisis.
I don't remember that crisis. I remember scare of a bird flu crisis and then no bird flu crisis.
Yeah, well, same thing's happening again. Why do the media still report this guy? I mean,
because he's approved, right?
He should be in an approved school. That's where he should be.
I mean, the man should. I actually think I'm going to go one further, and people might not like me for saying this because they'll say, "Oh, free speech," and yeah, but he does have free speech. But for what he did, and for what he modelled, and what his models forced the government to do, he should be in prison.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people fall into that category, and that's not going to happen, mate. That's just not going to happen.
Well, yeah, and Militant Mushroom in the chat says, still not seen a single sick bird.
I'm not a great fan of birds at the best of times, right?
Yeah, I know.
And I would love something to wipe out the fucking seagulls around here.
And I live less than 300 feet from the sea.
Then you don't get bothered with them. Yeah,
I don't get bothered with them.
35 miles from the sea, and they've taken up residence here because they're not seagulls. They are eaters of shite. They are shite hawks.
There's literally a field, then the sea.
Yeah.
Here.
Anyway,
and we get seagulls, but not really.
I'm just going to put this up because Africa's come up a few times over the weekend, and I mean, some of it's been about size and things like that because people don't understand how big Africa is.
Yeah, Africa's a continent, not a country.
Yeah, and it's huge. It's huge. I mean, you could put all of Russia and all of the US into Africa and hardly makes a dent. But anyway, this entire continent hasn't had a problem. It hasn't had a pandemic. Really, because nobody's really died.
Well, you and I both know this, and we can look at the official statistics that say this, and they have skipped interventions, shall we say, and
people still aren't dying.
So we can just look at the data and see that something is or is not occurring there. And before we jeopardize the life of your channel, John, let's move on.
Yeah, but it's just strange, isn't it, that an entire continent kind of evaded something that the rest of the world had.
Yeah, well,
bizarre.
Absolutely.
Bizarre.
It is bizarre. It is strange. You should be baffled if you can't read. You should be baffled. But if you can read and interpret, maybe not so much. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay. So Dagny here has retweeted the U.S. Department of Energy. Now, I'm not quite sure what this has got to do with the U.S. Department of Energy, and who cares? So the U.S. Department of Energy has concluded that the CV originated in a lab, right?
Yeah.
But 4 other agencies still believe the virus passed from animal to human naturally, and 2, including the CIA, have not decided.
Well,
So-
I think the US Department of Energy, they seem to cover a lot of grants for medicine and
oh, do they?
so, yeah, they do.
I mean, I just wondered why the U.S. Department of Energy was wading in on it. You know?
Well, do you know what? I personally speaking, this is my personal opinion and not something I'm going to tell people to believe or not believe. I'm kind of always have sided with the US Department of Energy on this. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I have no reason to dispute. No reason to dispute whatsoever. Speaking of dispute, what the hell's going on here? Because not only did we get what's his name rewritten, Roald Dahl. Well, apparently we're now going to rewrite Ian Fleming.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And this is from our friend of the show, Ed the Techie. It says here, villains is too nice a word for them. Heinously evil, fun-destroying cockwombles would be my choice. Well said, Ed. Well said. You know what? I would call them that as well.
And this is a worrying trend because this is rewriting works of fiction.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Right? And 1984 has been thrown into the mix here because it's been showing. It's been commented that it may give people the wrong idea.
Do you think they're going to try and rewrite 1984 next?
I don't know. I think they're going to try and ban it.
Imagine how meta that would be.
Yeah, I know that would. I mean, either rewriting it would be the best irony, but banning it would be pretty good. Maybe they would ban Fahrenheit 451 as well at the same time.
Do you know what? I wouldn't even ban the most heinous books around.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past them to do it though.
But no, but the reason I wouldn't do it is because I don't want to control what you consume, what you read, what you think, what you feel. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can consume whatever you want.
See, you can't do whatever the hell you want.
You should be able to.
You should be able to, but you can't because look what's happened to this poor chap. And you know what? Scott Adams is a bit of a knob, right?
Yeah.
I've disagreed with a lot he's said, and I've agreed with some of the things he said. But his Stilbert stuff was generally funny, right? And now he's just said the wrong thing, which basically was what, four words, and that's it. His career's over. They've all dropped him.
Well, that's their prerogative.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, I'm going to push back on Scott a bit here because I'm not a segregationist, and that seems like a segregationist argument.
Well, yes, it does seem like a segregationist argument, but the thing that gets me is the people that seem to be calling for segregation generally...
Far left, mate, far left.
No, it's not even that. It's generally, a lot of them seem to be black.
Well, yeah, but because it's this idea, isn't it? It's this idea of safe spaces. Safe spaces is segregation. It's what it is.
Yeah.
And they say, we'll have this segregation or safe space for this person, for this color, for this disability, for this sexuality. But if a straight white person wants a safe space, they're told to shut the hell up and go away.
I was reading a tweet earlier, and I don't have any slides for this, but Ben Irvin was involved in this tweet,
right? And
I'm not 100% sure, and I tried to start going back through his timeline, but forget it because he tweets so much, right?
Yeah.
That it takes you like 5 minutes to go back 3 days. So I don't know how far back you can actually get. But I'm pretty sure he said some really dodgy stuff at the start of the whole thing.
Such as
not being against certain things and supporting the government on certain things.
Well, I'd see. It's not something I can comment to because it's not something I've seen.
Right. Okay.
But I take umbrage with some of what Ben Irvin says, and I support some of what Ben Irvin says. Right.
Well, I take umbrage with most of what he says because
what I take real umbrage with is his attitude. He's right, nobody else is.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't argue against him because if you have an argument, then you're just wrong. But and the other thing that gets me is he's really gone to town on Ukraine. I mean, he's bought the the government line, hook, line and sinker.
Well, the thing is, you know, a lot of people will, a lot of people have. I don't understand why. Now, in the other breath, you know, the narrative really far from the other side is a load of shit too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There are two extremes, as always, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, well, you'll never get to the truth because the truth always gets rewritten.
Well, no, that's why we say Russia bad, Ukraine bad.
Yeah,
we want nothing to do with it.
I would go further. I would say Russia bad, Ukraine bad, UK bad, Germany bad, America bad. I think they're all bad. I think China bad, Japan bad, everybody's bad. Well, all your governments are against you as a person because your government has two things that they're focused on. And one of them is
feathering your nest.
Yeah, feathering their own nests and controlling the population.
Look, I've got a little marionette dancing around at the bottom of my strings. That marionette's you, and that puppeteer is your government. And it's kind of always been the way, isn't it?
Yeah, and so the question is, what's these clowns up to now? So we have here two unelected heads of state, in effect. You've got the homunculus, known as Rishi Sunak, who is unable to find clothes that fit him, and we'll come to that again. He's very little anyway, so he must be getting from the. Really must be shopping in the kids department now. I kind of think that. I think he's in Kid Gap or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say Baby Gap even.
Yeah, and then we have Ursula von der Leyen, right? And they're meeting today. They're meeting right now to thrash out the Northern Ireland Agreement and what's going on there. So we'd like to see and I think there is potential here for someone to be betrayed, whether it be the Irish, whether it be the British, whether it, it's definitely not going to go well for us.
I don't think these sorts of agreements and decisions should be being made on behalf of everybody by two people who were never elected by any population.
Well,
it's my personal opinion.
I agree, and at least Sunak, right? His party was elected, and he was elected as an MP.
Yeah.
Right? So at least there is some tiny bit of credibility there, but there's none. There is none for our German mistress here. None whatsoever. And Theresa brought that one to our attention. Apparently she's in hospital for an appointment, and I just hope everything's okay. We'll see you later.
We will see you later.
Yes. So moving on. Let's move on. What shall we move on to?
I was going to say, before we move on, is Woody Harrelson in the list, or should we just talk about him now?
Let's just talk about Woody. I can put Woody in the list.
He's going off on one, isn't he?
He's going off on one, but he's going off. He's got some of it wrong as well, though.
Well, yeah, but at the same time,
his heart's in the right place, and he's generally getting it right. Yeah.
Yeah, his heart's in the right place. He's generally getting it right. He's turning up on Saturday Night Live and monologuing. Questionable. Well, for mainstream audiences, shall we say. We got it. Anyone watching this show probably got it. And then he turns up on, was it Bill Maher? Bill Maher?
Yeah, yeah.
And then just starts openly talking about the Big Pharma being cartels.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they kind of are, though. They kind of are. And I see Moderna's had to pay a royalty fee to the NIH. And it's not inconsequential. It's like $400 million or something.
Oh, fantastic.
Because of the techniques they used to create the treatment were devised by the NIH and Mr. Fauci. Funny that. Anyway, we've got a sequence of slides here that are relating to what's going on in Ukraine, because I've been quite vocal, right? I mean, and I do not think Ukraine is a as a winnable situation
For anyone.
for it. Well, for anyone, but it's certainly not a winnable situation for Ukraine. Or the West, not without
No,
taking
this
a
is
massive
ridiculous.
step. So
It's ridiculous.
yeah. So Logka tweeted this last night, that the Ukrainian general Zalazuni, or whatever his name is, has told Zelensky that Bakhmut has been effectively encircled as the Wagner captured the 0056 highway. It's now impossible to evacuate the remaining soldiers. Now this was on the cards for a long time.
It
I
was,
mean,
yeah.
We've talked about this. It's been coming for a long time, right? And Zelensky's, it's been pointed out, if he's left his best troops in a position where they're now effectively unable to fight because they're encircled by the Russian meat grinder, and Russia will
I
just
mean,
grind them up.
Have we seen any real confirmation of this, though?
Well, we've seen it well. Yeah, you see, the problem is you don't get mainstream confirmation of bad news. That's the problem.
Well, this is it, and this is why you got to take. We talk about this situation over.
No,
in
you
Ukraine.
got to take everything with a pinch of salt. Yeah,
We don't know what's going on over there
No, we
because
don't.
It appears nobody owns a smartphone.
and I
That's
tell
all
you,
I'm saying.
yeah, well, yeah, I know, and when you've gone from the Gulf War where you got everything, warts and all, right? Shock and awe, you everything from day one, right? You got the whole thing, and then you have this war in the middle of Europe, not in a desert, in the middle of Europe, highly connected Europe,
Yeah.
right? And you get nothing, nothing, or very, very little. And what you do get is stage set pieces. Did you see the latest one with it? Did some sort of show? Don't know what the hell was going on. They were obviously firing blanks in the street. I don't know if it was for film or film crew or what, but you know, the whole thing was ridiculous. But anyway, now this tweet's come up a couple of times. We've had it from
More than a couple of times.
we've had it from Stu Peters, and Silas Sanders here's jumped on it as well. And what I would say, Silas, is generally you put out some reasonable stuff, but you've got to check. You got to check, because who is that, Ben?
That man is Maxim Donets.
He looks very like Zelensky. Yeah,
He does, but he is the head bodyguard for Zelensky, head of his security, and he's been out in public with him for a year, maybe more at this point. He's I think give himself the beard and the haircut is on purpose.
yeah.
As the head of security, but this man is not a body double. His name is Maxim Donets. He is the head of security, and people, if this was a body double, why would they be walking around together
They wouldn't.
with Joe Biden?
I
It just
know.
doesn't make it just doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, I know. I think I mean, it's quite obvious. It's, as you said, it's his head of security. He dresses like him. He looks like him because he's got short hair and you know,
It's shaped to be
shaped goatee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, and so people, when you see this man, and there's more than one picture, just say it's Maxim Donets.
Yeah,
That's his name.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So Ed the Techie's back again.
He is.
And
Ed's second billing on the show today, Ed. Well done.
And this is quite interesting. Maybe people are starting to wake up.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
I'm not so sure.
I think the staged was in regard to the thing I was talking about.
Yeah, but
But
looking
the
at
rest of the
these,
tweets are quite interesting.
they are quite interesting, but F Ukraine, screw Ukraine. These seem botted to me.
Oh, they could be. They could be.
It just seems like it's botted,
Yeah.
and so
But
you
then
have to
again, is it
wonder.
in a reaction to this? Because then, what's his name? Is David Vance and the left coat vagrant here? Or the left coast vagrant, or whatever he's calling himself. As as they are tweeting here, is it reaction to Zelensky having a go at Americans who don't think right?
Well, who knows? Who knows? At the end,
Because-
at the end of the day, there's propaganda all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the latest one? It's like some really shitty CGI video of like the Statue of Liberty and some Russian statue fighting.
God.
It's ridiculous.
No, I actually had to stop following Defense of Ukraine because
Yeah.
it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, they can't. They're just ridiculous. They are ridiculous.
And speaking of ridiculousness, there's people just now sharing a tweet from Flight Sim
Right.
of a jumbo jet landing badly, right? From
Yes.
Flight Sim, right?
Yes.
And then tweeting it as if it's real.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know what you mean. I've seen it.
It's pretty sad.
It's pretty sad that is the adrenochrome thing on the list today.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I mean, my God,
That's just
right?
ridiculous.
I mean, it is ridiculous. So a picture is being shared on social media as we speak by many accounts with many large followings, liked and retweeted, of what appears to be a beer barrel that appears to have the word
keg.
adrenochrome
Yeah.
across it. And it's very clearly fake.
Oh, it's
I mean,
terrible.
it's so bad. It's a terrible Photoshop job. And the second I point that out, people don't want to listen. And this is another, this and other things we've been talking about here, another example of your confirmation bias. You see something you want to be true and you just confirmed it, even though it's fake.
And remember, part of that confirmation bias is that the West did nothing to provoke Russia's actions over the last 30 years. We did nothing. We did everything we said we'd do. We didn't expand eastwards at all.
No.
No. We didn't come up to Russia's borders. No, we didn't do anything like that.
We don't do anything like that.
Of course
We're the good guys, remember?
We're the good guys. Yeah,
We're the
really
good guys.
good. Team
We're
America.
coming to deliver some freedom.
Freedom. Right, now,
You might not want our freedom,
There's-
but you're going to get it.
there's a couple of tweets around this that, and I'd like to go through them a little bit. Maisie Daisy here shows us this one.
Right.
And this Visegrad 24 guy says something is wrong in Berlin. Okay. 15,000 people gathered to protest against weapon deliveries to Ukraine. Some of them climbed the burnt out Russian tank placed in front of the Russian embassy. They tore down the Ukrainian flag and stomped on it. Police were present but didn't intervene. Now, why is something wrong in Berlin? Because that's not all that the protesters did. Right? They did considerably more. They covered the tank in flowers.
Right.
So these people aren't wanting the people in Ukraine to suffer. What they're wanting is they want peace.
Yeah, and I think that's what we all want, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a reasonable approach to take. So why would you say that something's wrong with people who are seeking peace? Because that's what the original tweet is effectively saying. If
I'll tell you
people
why.
want peace.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because
Why, Ben?
peace doesn't make money.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that was
Well, I mean, it
again.
could.
That was Editeki. He's on fire, isn't he, today?
Peace. That was Maisie Daisy, but
What?
peace could. Oh yeah. Oh, I hadn't flicked to the next slide yet. But yeah, peace could make money. Peace could make a lot of money if you knew how to leverage it, shall we say? But
Yeah.
the war machine is the war machine, and it's going to crank on because it makes money. The
Yeah.
people who make the bullets make the bandages. you know?
Exactly, and that's exactly what's happening here again. So,
Yeah.
American neocons love the war and throwing over duly elected governments. Biden and his warmongering advisors will cause World War III. I think they might. And Kim Pizer,
Tony
tweets this.
Garrett says peace is akin to healthy people, not good for the bottom line.
So the protest organisers said on their website, we call on the German Chancellor to stop the escalation of arms deliveries. And I can understand why, right?
Yep.
Because, they want peace. And the thing is, Germany is a bit pissed off, right?
Well, yeah, they don't want to give away what little weapons they have left, for one.
But Germany's he's a little. They're a little bit more pissed off as well because, to be fair, Germany. And just bear with me, right? Because I'll put this one up. Germany were really pissed off when they found out it was the Yanks that blew up Nord Stream 2. So Germany's now wanting...
You've really jumped ahead.
Yeah, I said bear with me. I'll go back. Don't worry about it. Right?
All right, okay.
So Germany wants to use the pipes left over from Nord Stream 2 to build a new pipeline to a floating LNG terminal because they want to still buy... They still need gas. And they want gas. And there's only one place to get it. As far as Germany's concerned, because you can't afford to have it shipped over from the States. Because they're charging an arm and a leg for it.
I'm going to say this, and I think that the state should pay for it.
I think, they're not going to, but they should, yeah.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah.
They obviously, they're obviously to blame here, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, of course the states are to blame.
So we have a tweet here from McHenry says, who believes this garbage? It's quote tweeting, Russian market. Zelensky shows his bedroom where he has been living for a year. Zelensky also said that a suit hangs in the closet, which he wishes to wear on Victory Day. Yeah, bollocks.
That's a suit that's never going to get worn. I hate to say it.
First of all, that's a suit that's never going to get worn. Second of all, that's not his bedroom.
No, I know.
He's not sleeping. He's got a wife.
I know. I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous.
He's not staying with his wife at all, is he? Or are they both sleeping in there? Yeah, they both sleeping in there.
Yeah.
Where is that? In a bunker? Where is this?
No, that's just some. There'll be some room in his in one of the government buildings that he's dressed up to make it look like a bedroom.
Listen, comrades, I have suit in cupboard. I will wear on Victory Day. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Here is wife. Wife stays in bedroom with me too. Yes. Nah, bollocks.
Yeah,
bollocks.
Absolute bollocks. Now, here's an interesting one. Here's an interesting one from Paul Kekos, right?
Right.
So, it's been 1 year since Russia launched an unprovoked invasion. Fair enough. Okay. But the FBI had been working for years with our Ukrainian partners. Hold on a minute, though. I thought the FBI was only supposed to work on things inside the US border.
I was going to say, aren't they supposed to only work on domestic policy?
Yeah.
And domestic cases.
And the CIA is supposed to work on stuff outside the US borders.
Yeah.
So what's the FBI doing in Ukraine? Anything to do with Hunter?
Maybe.
What's up?
Oh, Jesus. Well, I think there's the helicopter right over my head because the building is shaking.
Can't hear it.
Yeah.
So
that's fun. Anyway.
They've coming for you.
That's it. They're coming to shut us down, John.
Yeah.
Any minute now, a special forces guy's going to come fucking flying through the roof on a rope. We're done. We're done for.
People have been going on about this weekend about nobody calling for peace. Well, China has.
Which is very, 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 very clever on their part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Spirited One tweets us, China urges for the end of Russia's invasion of Ukraine as it calls for a ceasefire. But China's not daft. The Chinese are like, we're playing chess and they're playing mahjong, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we don't have a clue where they are. Or we're playing normal chess and they're playing 4D chess.
Right? Yeah, we're playing checkers, mate.
Yeah, because they really are thinking ahead, because not only are they calling for peace, but they're also saying we might give some aid to Russia. Right, and we talked about this on Friday night because Russia's got its factories on a war footing, right? So Russian factories are running 24/7. So they're churning out armaments like like Billio, right? I mean, and that's why they can afford to sit there and use their artillery to basically make mincemeat of the Ukrainians. And that's exactly what they're doing. That's the Russian way. But the UK and the USA and the rest of the Western nations haven't put any facilities into gear yet. So there's no way we could start a war, as it stands, because we couldn't service it, because we're giving away all the ammunition to Ukraine, and they've spunked it, to no avail.
Well, that's what evidently they do, right? They don't know how to do war, right? As bad as that sounds, they don't know what they're doing.
They don't.
And speaking of people who really don't know what they're doing, this is an interesting one, because obviously it's just from something called iSource_news.
Yeah.
But breaking: Harry and Meghan considering leaving the US after disastrous drop in popularity. Inside sources claim the couple want a fresh start somewhere else. John, did you watch the South Park episode?
No, I have not.
But it's called the Worldwide Privacy Tour, because it's about them going from country to country to country. We want privacy. It seems to be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Do you see what Harry wants? See, Harry should have been here today, right? He should have been here filming. For why? Henry should have been here.
What did he want?
Did you see what he's wanting now?
No.
He wants an apology from the
South
king.
Park.
No, from the king.
Okay.
He wants an apology from the king before he'll come to his coronation. That's fucking mental.
Holy shit.
He's completely lost it. Don't you think?
Shit. Yeah.
So, anyway, Aldo here tweets that grain from Ukraine has been used to feed pigs, not people, right? And this is a Vernon Coleman thing. I don't know about Vernon Coleman. He's a bit of an odd character at times, isn't he?
And this is from the expose, who, obviously they have been good on some stuff, and obviously some stuff you just can't verify. And
well, I've read the full article, right? And
I like the expose, by the way.
Okay.
Right, I do, because I've spoken to in fact, the owner of the expose used to come and watch shows. Right.
There you go.
Right.
So Vernon Coleman, is he known as something else at the weekends?
Oh yeah. I hear the rumours are possibly true.
Right. But anyway, so I've read the article about this, and basically, it's probably correct. I.e., there's been a big lull in the amount of grain that Ukraine was sending out because of the war. Yeah, and then they suddenly decided to get some out. And remember, there was a whole thing, late in the season about Russia allowing ships out and Ukrainian ships taking grain out, and it went to Spain. It went to Spain because Spain doesn't really need grain, but they used it to feed their pigs because the Spanish like their bacon. And then they fed the grain to their pigs and sold the pork to the rest of Europe.
Wow.
There you go.
There you go, indeed.
Well, the rest of Europe that eats pork. Not to Israel.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pork is pretty damn good. In fact,
yeah.
I made a lovely roast pork yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fantastic, actually. Lovely bit of crackling running across the top of it and everything. Crackling so hard you could just put a fork in it, it smashed into chips. It was great.
Okay. Thanks for that. So and then Vernon goes on to say that millions of people are starving to death in Africa and Asia. And, well, I hate to say this, Vernon, but tell me something we don't know.
Well, exactly. How many times do we have to do Live Aid?
Yeah, well, it's like Water Aid, How many times, how many years do you need to sponsor it?
And we're not saying that to disparage these nations at all.
No.
It's almost like they've been held back from an industrial revolution, a lot of them. Purposely, maybe.
Do you think they've been forced to go down the net zero route?
I think many countries are being forced to go down the net zero route, ours included.
A race to the bottom.
A race to the bottom, indeed. And racing further to the bottom is Peter Faulding, John, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, you know what? And Darren hears this, tweets this, and you know what? I kind of disagree with Darren on this. That's the thanks you get for trying to do the right thing, right? Because Peter Faulding was quite outspoken.
Peter Faulding seemed to like the idea of being known. I will say that.
Yeah, and he was quite outspoken, because what did he say? I mean, and we pointed this out. This was not going to reflect well on him if she was found in the river, because he said,
"Yeah,
there is no way she's in that river." That's what he
did
said.
say that,
right?
He did say, and she was found less than a mile away in that river,
in a part that they'd searched.
And that they had searched with their specialist equipment.
Yeah. So he was very disparaging. He said they should have been given more information. Right? He said that if she's in the river, we'll find her. Right? And then he said there is no way she's in that river.
And unfortunately, she seems to have been found in the river.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can see why Peter Faulding and his team have been removed from that expert list. Because remember, he had a whole team.
Yeah, I don't think he's been stitched up at all. I think he's just been a bit of a dick about it, and he's put himself out there to fail in spectacular style.
And the thing is, I've also seen a statement from the NCA, National Crime Agency, who say they update their lists repeatedly, and they will be reviewing it, and he could return to the list soon.
Yeah, well, so whatever. But
I think at this particular moment in time, this is pretty much a non-story.
Yeah. And it was almost guaranteed to happen because the way that he comported himself. I think he brought it on himself.
I think, Peter, you fucked up. Let me just say it, as brazenly as possible. You shouldn't have done the media tour. Just like, I don't know, you've seen the Trump grand jury thing going on. The forewoman of the Trump grand jury has been doing what Peter's doing. She's been going on a media tour. She's 30 years old, right? She's going on a media tour. She wants to be famous, and anything that they've got against him, she's pretty much fucked up because she's basically perjured the jury.
Yeah, well, that's kind of stupid.
Stop going on media tours.
Yeah.
Come on the show if you'd like. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, so speaking of media tours, I don't quite understand what Mary Black is getting at here. This is Mary Black, MP.
Yeah.
Rainbow flag. And she's talking about the Scottish leadership contest.
This is a 10 tweet. It's a 10 tweet thread, that is.
Yeah, I know. It just goes on about... It goes on about hearty feelings, basically.
Do you know what?
But everything's encapsulated in that first tweet. A lot of people have asked me my views on the leadership contest, right?
Okay.
Truthfully, I have been incredibly hurt so far. Okay, right. Why are you hurt? Hurt originating with the statements that Kate Forbes has made and since stood by. I, like most people in Scotland, could not care less about someone's religion. Right, so...
What's Kate Forbes said about religion?
Well, Kate Forbes has just said that marriage is like between a man and a woman. That
oh, yeah, she did, didn't she?
Sex before marriage is not a good idea. Basically, she's just putting forward her thoughts based on her opinion of her religion.
Also, let's not be coy here. That's the opinion of every Abrahamic religion.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Mary Black here does obviously care about someone's religion, which is not what she's saying in that tweet, because she said she's been hurt by it. She's been hurt by the words that Kate Forbes is speaking.
But does Mary Black subscribe to a religion herself?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
I don't. You know what? I actually don't care.
No, neither do I. But the thing is,
what does bug me is these people coming on and having their two penny worth because of hurty words, and this has got to stop, because if you're gonna stop people from speaking, right, then you're never gonna get truth.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, but unfortunately, you live in that country, and it is punishable by the jail to say hurty words around your own fucking dinner table, John.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is it. It is absolutely ridiculous. Let's move on to this tweet here from McHenry.
So this is the second one from McHenry. He's on fire as well.
Oh.
So CNN got special dispensation to go on the carrier battle group in the South China Sea, the American one, okay? And they flew him there on an American cargo plane.
Yeah.
And basically, CNN just becomes the propaganda wing of the democratic, duly elected government of the United States of America, doesn't it?
You just mean the Democrat Party. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Right, let's bloody well face it.
He's getting all upset about that Chinese fighter jet over there, which, you know what? Hold on a minute, mate. How far away from America are you?
Well, exactly.
And how close to China are you?
Well, exactly.
So I think that just says it all.
These people boil my piss, John. They absolutely, but they call themselves journalists, right? They're reporting this shit. Their opinions are useless. When they can't get a good story, they just make shit up, right? They make allegations that are clearly false of people, racist, sexist, misogynist, all this shit. These people boil my fucking piss. They're not journalists, they're propagandists.
Indeed.
Move on.
I think you're correct. Now, this one is a bit nasty. So this young lady here is dead. Okay?
Yep.
She was a YouTuber. And she was found partially dismembered.
Oh, Jesus.
Her legs were in the fridge.
What?
Her head was in a cooking pot.
Oh, fucking hell.
Sorry, not her head. Her skull was in a cooking pot, along with some of her ribs. Now, so...
I think this might be a tough one for YouTube to let us report on, by the way.
The ex-husband, the father, and the brother have all been arrested and charged with her murder. Quite shocking.
I don't even know what to say to this. I mean, pretty young girl.
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what the motive was. But it's
it seems like they wanted lunch, John.
That's maybe you've just gone too far.
Ribs and I'm just saying.
Right, let's lighten the mood, shall we?
How the fuck do you go from that to lightening the mood?
Well, here you go. We've got Rishi Sunak and his lovely wife.
She's shorter than him.
He's standing on a step.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay.
Right, here we go. Someone says, can we really trust a man who, with his wife and all their money, can't find clothes that fit? His tiny suit, her massive trousers. Look at the height of these trousers. Do you think the cat died and he's wearing them at half-mast? Apart from that.
Once again, I said it before, I say it again. Baby gap. Where's the fucking baby gap?
Why is she dressed as a Ukrainian flag?
I was going to ask why she was dressed as a travelling big top, but
she's dressed as a Ukrainian flag, isn't she?
I see it. I see it.
It's a poor attempt. A poor attempt. Right. Now this one's good, right? This one is
Right.
really good. Bazak Media, okay? Now, I think like he's trying to put this out as some kind of thing about, I think it's like the Shemima Begin thing, right? Because a lot of the tweets are saying, if it's good for them, it's good for her. But this is a load of pish. This is all made up. There's nothing real here at all.
They don't even. So what's going on here then?
So I
So it's
think
just-
I think this guy's tweeted this out to try and
Yep.
say, look, if they want these people back, why wouldn't they want back Shemima Begun, right? Because these
Yep.
girls are so.
Are these girls even real?
No, the whole thing's freaking made out.
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah,
whole
the
thing's...
whole thing-
Listen to it. Breaking: the UK Home Office are desperate to bring home 15-year-old twins, Hayley and Lottie Whiteman, right, who fled their home in Swindon to join the neo-Nazi Blood and Soil Battalion in Donbass, Ukraine. Okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't exist, okay? A petition to bring the girls back has been signed by over 400,000 people. No, it hasn't. Okay. Secondly, Home Secretary Suella Braverman in the next tweet goes on to say, she goes on to say that she has tasked Bear Grylls with recovering them back to the UK. And then
Come on, Bear.
the whole thing goes on and on, right?
Come on, Bear. You can do it.
But you've got people responding to this as if it's real. People are so dense.
Yeah, but once again, you've got. Okay, let me give you an example. The young lady named Julia on Instagram who said she's fucking Madeline McCann.
Well, yes, I know.
She's not Madeline McCann.
And these girls aren't in Ukraine.
Well, they might be in Ukraine, but they're not who they purport to be.
No, they're not.
They don't exist.
So I think we've started to lighten the mood.
Yeah, but
Wait till you
but
see
once
the
again-
next one.
Once again, I just want to impress before we do move on that Julia girl on Instagram, she really is not Madeline McCann. Please,
No, she's
please stop saying she's Madeline. She's done this before. She said she was another runaway named Acacia, right? Or another missing girl. She
She's
is
a
not
lunatic.
Madeline McCann.
She's a lunatic.
Yeah.
Speaking of lunatics, the Sunday Sport has really gone down a fucking rabbit hole here.
Is that Stu Peters?
I don't know. That is like him though. Naked Putin made me toss off elements to fill his spunk bath.
How do you think I remain so strong, comrade?
That's the context of the I was going to say advert, but it's like it's
Listen.
ridiculous. Apparently, Putin has
Listen.
he's gone to ridiculous levels in order to try and maintain his youthful appearance.
Listen, John. A spunk bath a day keeps Zelensky away. We say that together. A spunk bath a day keeps Zelensky away.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, this is another example of this is just another example of crass propaganda, isn't it? Because that's what you do. You mock and dehumanize the people that you perceive as your enemies.
Spencer says, I thought that Putin would go to extraordinary lengths. Lol.
Right. Now, this one's in the funnies, but it's not really that funny. So I spoke about this on Friday, and I thought it was important to remind people just in case that they forgot about this. Okay. So the Arkansas police have ruled suicide in the death of the Clinton aide that was linked to Jeffrey Epstein. This is a guy who was found shot with a shotgun, right, and tied to a tree with electrical cord around his neck,
He did it to himself.
despite no sign of the weapon. Now, apparently
Did it to
they did
himself.
find the weapon, but it was a considerable distance away.
No, John. See, I can explain that. It's physics, you see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because the pushback, the blowback
Yeah,
from the barrel, he just let go. It just went flying.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it just went flying, John. Right? He completely and utterly 100% did it himself. And any suggestion that Bill or Hillary Clinton were involved in any way, shape, or form is a coincidence. It is nothing to do with it. It is not true.
Complete
nothing.
coincidence.
Complete coincidence. Absolute coincidence, right?
Absolutely.
It is just never, ever do all of these people that surround Bill and Hillary commit suicide die of other means.
Indeed.
Never.
Now, this one is quite dodgy as well, I think. Okay. So this was a video, and Edward Longshanks has kindly tweeted this, which is worthwhile watching because they start pouring oil onto the road.
Right.
And the one down there that appears to be praying to Allah, right, slipped on the oil and then it went face first into the tarmac, right? Now, this is really dangerous because if you put oil on a road, cars are going to slide all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You could be causing major crashes and you could even cause someone's death.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But remember, these stop oil activists, no matter what country they're in, they're incredibly fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think they are
This is
because...
the same, but this is the same group of people, John, who went and protested at a cooking oil plant.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Here in the UK, they went and protested a cooking oil plant. Just stop oil, baby! They're incredibly stupid.
Yeah, I
incredibly.
think they are. Now, the next one is it's a Bobby Bollocks special. It seems to be that Bobby Bollocks is specialising in closing the show recently. Okay.
Well, no, because there's another little thing that's quite serious I want to talk about after this.
Yeah, but this is one hell of a headline. No, that's just my fella went down on me and found next door's a missing kitten. That's just wrong on so many levels.
Just take a breath.
I'm just going to remove that from the screen.
Please, just get it out of my sight, John. Get it out of my sight. Get it out of my sight. That was, I mean, that's the picture of the kitten's quite cute.
Yeah, but apart from that, I can't understand. I don't think the kitten could have survived that, surely.
No, he's probably dead. Yeah, he's probably dead. Poor bloody thing.
Yeah. No way to go. Oh.
And do you know what?
Yes, Ben.
If you ever find me getting that big, right?
Yeah.
You have permission to just, roll me off a cliff or something. I don't know.
No, don't say things like that.
I'm just saying you have.
No, you don't say things like that on the channel.
Oh no, I'll definitely bounce.
Right. Okay.
but DW says booby big balls after drinking lots of Coke. Well, I've got cherry vanilla Coke here, DW, from all the way from the United States. Cherry vanilla Coke, full sugar, or actually full high fructose corn syrup, as it's American and they don't use sugar. But yeah, it's good stuff, and it's definitely going to aid in the growth, according to the media. They keep saying that Coke gives you big bollocks. I've been drinking it for years. My wife can attest to one or the other. That's all I will say. Now, I saw a video yesterday that really pissed me off, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit.
Was it mine?
No.
And if that video in the pre-roll can be seen in its entirety on our show.
Yeah, it can.
Not on our show, and on our YouTube channel. Should you wish to see the end of it.
And John has done a fantastic job producing that video, making it, recording it, making it lovely for you to consume. So if you would go over there and give him a bit of support, we would really, really, really appreciate it. But still, And it's going to really bring the mood down a bit. But I
Do you want to
feel
bring your mic in a little? You seem to be dropping off.
I feel I have to talk about this, right?
Go on.
So this video was in Texas. It was from a couple of days ago, and it's a couple of dogs. They could be pit bulls or Staffordshire Bull Terriers. Can't really tell.
Oh,
killing an old man.
All
Right.
All right.
So,
okay.
an elderly couple got out of their car. These two dogs got out of the yard and killed the old man. Took his face off.
Yeah.
And do you know what pissed me off the most about it? First of all, these types of dogs should not be. As far as I'm concerned, the argument that it's always the owner and it's not the dog, bollocks. First of all, because it's over 70% of dog attacks are from these breeds. Right? There's something in that, as far as I'm concerned. But secondly, and the thing that pisses me off the most is the people sitting in their fucking car filming it and doing nothing as an old man is killed. They watched him get murdered by these dogs and just sat there with their phone fucking filming it.
Well, who filmed it?
Person at the fucking wheel of a car.
Yeah, but what would you do?
And first of all, I'd be hitting the horn and I'd be driving the car towards the dogs.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right? That might at least scare them off, but they did nothing.
Yeah.
And it was in Texas. Why was nobody fucking packing?
Yeah,
it just pisses me off. It really pisses me off that people. It's not just this situation, but there are situations where people are getting severely hurt, severely injured. There's a lot of, and I'm going to say, anti-Semitic attacks in New York, especially right now. They get filmed, and nobody steps in.
Yeah, because the Good Samaritan's gone. The Good Samaritan doesn't exist anymore because what happens is, generally, you either get picked on, or you end up in the jail.
John. I'm
and,
still really big.
And unfortunately, that's what's happening in the world these days.
John,
Ben,
it is abhorrent, truly. You're absolutely right. I'm sure they want to see your face as well, John.
I'm here.
There you go. But sorry, I got so animated there. But at the end of the day, it was so graphic what I saw, and it was just being shared on Twitter like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Shared on Instagram like it was nothing, and this man died, and there were people all around, and their reaction was to just get their phone out and film it.
That seems to happen a lot. Did you see the one with the kid in school that's talking to the teacher?
There's many kids in schools talking to teacher videos, John.
But he's shouting at the teacher and whatever. He's just freaking getting tore into him, and people are just filming it.
Yeah, it's. I don't understand what's happened to this world. How I think social media is probably something to do with it, because that person, instead of trying to intervene inside a 2-ton vehicle, by the way, so probably very safe from the dogs, right? Instead of trying to intervene, they thought, well, this will get me some clicks and likes.
Yeah.
Let's film this and let's put it on social media. And they put it on social media. What's happened to people?
Yeah. I think it's part of the disintegration of society.
I tell you what, in China, they would step in.
Why do you think?
Why? Because they're taught to love their country, love their community.
No, they wouldn't. The Chinese. The Chinese have this thing, right? So if you save someone's life, you're responsible for them for the rest of your life. So the Chinese would not step in. The Chinese would walk past you if you were having a heart attack in the street. The Chinese would just walk past you and leave you alone.
Fair enough.
Nobody comes to your aid in China.
Well, I tell you, in Russia.
Maybe in Russia, but certainly not in China.
In Poland.
maybe
in Hungary,
you know,
in Africa,
maybe, but you know,
Japan.
I think people in the West have been conditioned.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been conditioned by a variety of things because,
Yeah.
you know, you think most people would step in, right? And you think most people would take action, but these days it's like I say, you know, you get the blame for it, or they turn on you, or.
Well, exactly. Tony Garrett here says the culture of humanity has downgraded significantly since the onset of the 21st century.
I think he's right.
I think it's since the onset of social media. I think social media is the biggest part in this.
Yeah, it seems to be that people will reach for their phone before they reach, you know, to film it before they'll reach for their phone to call for assistance.
Well, this is it. I mean, they weren't on the phone calling 911. They were on the phone filming a man die.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It is sick, and you know, I'm hoping that there is some way back to at least a sense of basic decency within society, because I feel it's gone. Only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's quite
It's sobering.
It's quite downbeat to end the show on.
But I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary because I think people need to see what has happened. I mean, there used to be a time where you go and give your neighbor a cup of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
That's long gone. That is long gone. I mean, I would do it. I'm sure you would as well. But,
well, yeah, if I had sugar.
I mean, at the end of the day...
Sugar is evil.
Yeah, he hates... But at the end of the day, people now go out of their way to avoid their neighbor.
Yeah.
And go out of their way to get clicks and likes on social media by doing the most outrageous, stupid, oftentimes ridiculous, and in this case, deadly things.
Yeah.
So, Trudy says social media is destroying lives, and I couldn't agree more. Agree more. And I know that we are kind of hypocritical because we are talking to you on a social, because YouTube is a social media platform, really, right? We're talking to you on one right now. But what I would say to you is this: make sure that you at least turn off. Just go outside, get some air, talk to your neighbor, talk to random people. You know, give them a smile, say hello. Bit of basic decency like we used to have. I still hold the door open for people. Even though I'm the one on the walking stick, I will hold the door open for people, men or women.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Barely anyone holds the door for me. That's where we are, John. It's where we are.
Indeed.
Trudy says, I had the same conversation with a customer today about how things used to be with the neighbours. Yeah. Tony says, yeah, there still are folks out there who are kind, considerate, and when they are able to be generous. You know, I've always gone out of my way to help people if I could. Sometimes I can't, you know, but if we can, I mean, even my son's birthday last week when they were in Brighton, you know, my 9-year-old son gave his last fiver to a homeless man.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. And with that, I think that's a little bit up the beat, because if my 9-year-old autistic son can do that, maybe there is hope.
Yeah.
Maybe there is.
Indeed. So with that, I'd like to thank you, one and all, for attending this episode 202, Chasing Dissent Live, with me, John, and with Ben. Goodbye. It's been great. For you.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. Too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah.